What's going on? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tech Productions. Today I have Bancroft joining once again to go over a deck profile. Not just any deck profile, but SS4 Bardock. Before we get into the profile, buttons down below. Feel free to click, they're there for a reason. But here we go. So, SS4 Bardock. It's a rainbow-based deck, so you pretty much play every color in a sense. Every energy will be a multicolor card, most likely. All your battle cards are practically multicolor cards as well. So it has an AOD vibe for me, which I really did enjoy, but with a little bit more of a choice of options. So the leader itself, permanent reduce the combo costs and negate the energy exhaust skills of all black multicolor battle cards with SS4 in the card names in all your areas, which is pretty fantastic. Permanent, this card gains 2,000 power for each color in your energy area. It is a 5,000 leader at first. On turn 1, it becomes 9,000. On turn 2, it becomes 11, 13, 15, obviously. Auto, when this card attacks, look up top 5 cards for your deck. Add up to 1 black card with SS4 in its card name and add to your hand. Then shuffle your deck afterwards. And awaken if your life is 3 or less, or you have 4 more colors in your battle area and energy, you may draw 2 cards from this card over. Fantastic. You can potentially do this on turn 2, I think. Yeah, turn 2 by playing a battle card to the field. But I like to hold off just a little bit longer because from that point on, you're already at 11,000 on turn 2. So your opponent has to expend resources just to hit you. So once you've awakened, got a lot of more effects here. Same permanent about the reduced cost of energy exhaust, but now the auto, when this card attacks, resolve the effects below according to the number of non-black colors represented among the among black multicolored cards in your battle area and energy area. So for 2 colors, this card gains 5,000 power for the battle, and then you choose one of your opponent's battle cards and switch to rest mode, which is fantastic. Tap down a blocker. For 3 colors, at the end of your turn, switch up to one of your black multicolor energy to active mode. So that way you're able to tap out and know that you could potentially negate or sense of being on the following turn. In 4 colors, you draw 1 card and you choose one of your opponent's unison cards and remove a marker from it, which is fantastic in its entirety. So you do lose, like I said, the aspect of searching, but now it's always a draw 1 for you. And speaking of searching, play 4 SS4 calls. Activate battle limit 1, activate main. If you loot a card is black Bardock Xeno or a Saiyan card of SS4 in its card name, look up top 3 cards of your deck, add up to 2 black cards of SS4 in the card name among them to your hand, then place the rest cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. If you add 2 cards to your hand, choose 1 card in your hand and place it at the bottom of your deck. So it just helps you search for more SS4 cards. Truth be told, when I played, I felt comfortable sometimes siding out one of these because I felt like I was able to draw enough and be just fine. So 2 might be the option in the end, but for right now it's 3. Before I get into all the good 2 drops, we're going to go over the 3 drops first. Because the 3 drops have an auto when your leader card is black Saiyan card, and there's a total of 3 or more energy between you and your opponent. At the end of the battle, which this card was used in a combo from your hand, you play this card from your drop area in rest mode. Then you choose one of your opponent's unison cards, negate its skills for the turn. That's fantastic. They swing. You combo, you pay, you play, and now if they hadn't used their Unison's marker ability, too bad. Active mains, what's really good about this card is that for 1 black energy, you send this card to its owner's warp, choose 1 black multicolored battle card for energy cost of 2 in your hand, and you play it at the start of your next turn. You add this card to your hand from your warp, so it cycles itself back to your hand, and you're playing another card which has an on-play effect, which is fantastic. We also play 3 of the Vegetas as well. Only difference is on play. You choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy costs of 3 or less, and you turn it to the other hand. I prefer negating out unisons more than I do, or sorry, negating unison skills than I do sending a card back to my opponent's hand. Sometimes they like those cards. So cards, yeah, go to the next stack of cards. So SS4 Bardock. This is a card that I would prefer to charge after turn 2, preferably turn 3 or 4 to maximize it. But unique barrier, if your leader card is Bardock Xeno, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1, making it a 2-cost card. If your leader card is Bardock Xeno, and you have a black multicolored card in your energy other than this card, when this card from your hand is played or placed in your energy, choose one of your opponent's battle cards or unison cards, and it gets minus 2,000 power for the turn for each color in your energy. Initially, turn 1, that's 2. But you have to have it, so on turn 2, that's initially 6,000 you're negging, which is fantastic. Activate battle, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets minus 5,000 power for the turn as well. So between this card and its activate battle, you can potentially at max neg out a card that's 15k. Going to the Vegeta, which when this card is played or charged, you choose up to one of your opponent's card in your opponent's hand, place it at the bottom of their deck, and the opponent draws one card. Then when this card is played from your hand, you draw 2 cards and choose one card in your hand and place it at the bottom of your deck. So it just helps you cycle and see more cards. Yellow Goku. When this card is played from your hand or placing energy, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards. Energy costs 4 or less. Negate its skills until the end of your opponent's next turn. And then the secondary auto is when this card is played from your hand, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode, and KO it if it's a skillless battle card. So this is a fantastic card to just play. It negs, then it taps, and then it KOs. So, and I also play 3 of the Gohan, which when charged or played, you choose one of your opponent's unisons with 3 or more markers, and you remove a marker from it. And then when this card is played, you choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy costs 4 or less since it's under warp. And this card's a double strike, which is fantastic. I didn't go over it, but the Vegeta is a crit. And the yellow one is a blocker. So that they each have like their own unique skills, which kind of make them fantastic in their own unique way. Full protection package. Obviously, we got to play 4 of the negate Gohans because initially it's a dormant. If I have to worry about having a dormant, and it actually negates the attack. So negate the attack, play this card. When this card is played, you may choose one card in your hand. This card, if you do, your opponent can only attack with battle cards and unison cards X more times for the turn. X is equal to the number of colors and energy. So in most cases, they're going to be able to attack one more time with a unison or battle card. And if it happens to swing with the leader first, fantastic. But most people tend to swing with the battle card or unison first against this deck. That way they can maximize against this. Kind of like, the correct word was Flying Nimbus back in the day. Permit, if you activate this the counter skill on this card in your hand and there are 3 or more black multicolor cards in your battle area and or energy, reduce the energy cost of this card by 1 black, making it just a green cost. Typically this is the energy that I will restand on my going to my opponent's turn off the awakened side of the leader. 3 of the counterplay Bardock. It counterplays a battle card coming into play with 20,000 power or less. It's placed in the drop instead. And permanent, if you have 2 or more blank multicolor energy, you may add a card from your life to your hand when activating this card's counter skill. If you do, reduce the activation cost of this counter skill by 1 black, make it initially a red. If I gotta use it, I gotta use it. I prefer most times just paying 2 energy, depending on what part of the game stage of game I'm in, because I don't want to take the life. But if it benefits me, I'll take the life for pay 1 red to counterplay a card coming into play. And the rest of the deck is pretty much just what I felt comfortable playing. It's a mix between boss monsters and tech play. These cards are all pretty much the engine that gets searched for the leader and SS4 call. So we played 2. Oh my goodness. 2 Roshis, what makes Roshi so great is that choose 1 multicolored card in your energy, return it to your owner's hand. When you combo this card, choose 1 card in your hand and place it in energy and rest mode. One of the go-to plays, obviously what this one is, depending on like what it is, get rid of an extra marker from a unison. Switch a card to rest mode. But my preferred one is always the Bardock because it just adds an extra form of negging to an opponent's battle card, or even unison. So depending on what turn it is, like I had to during one of my games, I charged this card, then I actually paid 2 to play it, and then I used the combo to pick this back up and play it back down, initially negging a card up by 24,000, which was pretty fantastic for that particular matchup. 2 unisons, just because they're not necessary for the deck, but if I see them, they're great options because it is a activate main for +1 to draw 1 card. And if I needed to do the -2 until the end of your opponent's next turn, they can't attack with battle cards unless they choose 1 card from their hand and send to warp each time. So if I feel like my opponent's about to go super aggro on me and I can't kill them this turn, I could pay 2, then immediately crack the 2 on top of it. That way it kind of restricts their attacks for their following turn. Super combos I chose. Actually went to a 3-1 split. 3 Prince Vegetas because they're just really good. You bottom deck 1, you draw 2. And 1 Supreme Kai, just because in late game this card is actually 11,000 combo. If your leader card is black and your life is 4 or less when this card is using a combo from your hand, draw 1 card and this card gets plus 2,000 combo power for the battle for each color in your energy, initially making it 11,000 combo, which sometimes that extra 1k matters. Going into now more defense plays, we got 2 support of the Dark Empire, just really good negate that plays a blocker.
1 petrification. You never know when your opponent plays a boss monster, you just want to get rid of it. 2 Super Kamehamehas. I've seen a lot of people play the Bardock at a 4 of the counterplay, but like I said, I don't like taking the life if I don't have to, so I result with Super Kamehameha. It's a little bit easier. You can pay 1 for, or if your life is 4 or less, you can actually take a life as well. It does stop a 3 or less play, which typically most floodgate cards are at the end, less than 3 energy. 2 Senzu Beans, because I do charge a blue card. And kind of like an ultimate defense, the Secret Rare, Brainwash. Activate battle if you have 3 or more energy, play this card. Then activate main slash, battle for 1 energy. If your leader card is black and you remove this card from the game until the start of your next turn, your opponent can't attack with battle cards or units unless they choose 1 card in their life and place in the drop each time. Going into in-game stuff. Play 2 Bardock Awakened Instincts. I like putting cards in the Warp because I play 1 SSG Trunks, Power Awaken. And I also play 1 of the Thorny and Dark Empire. They both are easier to play by using cards in your Warp. If it can't remove them, had to restart it, sorry about that, but here we go. So both these cards are playable using cards from your Warp, which is fantastic. So if the Trunks is in your Warp, activate main, pay 2 energy, black energy. If your leader card is blank and there's 8 or more cards in your Warp, you play this card from your hand. What's great about this is that this also feeds card back to my drop area for other cards. And same thing for Thorny. You pay 1 for the Union Fusion, you can choose targets in your Warp, place them into your drop area instead, which is fantastic. And both these are great cards. Dual attack initially that reloads, it's coming to play. Double strike that on play, when this card attacks, choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards, send it to the owner's Warp. And those cards you're putting in your Warp go fantastic with SS4 Gogeta, Thorny Dark Empire. Activate main for 4 energy, choose 1 Son Goku Xeno card and 1 Vegeta Xeno card. In your battle area and or drop area, send them to your owner's Warp, and then you play this card from your hand. Triple attack, it's blocker. It can't be KO when it's in rest mode. And on its initial swing, will choose 2 of your opponent. Your opponent chooses 2 of their 2 cards in their hand and 2 of their battle cards in the barrier. Send them to the owner's Warp, so it initially clears their board as well. So it's just a nice little big boy. I do play 1 of the 10 drop just because it's fantastic as a quad strike, but not just that, because of its on play effects. When this card's play, you resolve these effects in the following order based on the colors and energy. Red immediately does 1 damage to your opponent. Blue draws you 3. Green, your opponent chooses 2 cards in their hand, discards them. Yellow, choose up to 1 of your opponent's cards, switch to rest mode. Black, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards, send them to the owner's Warp. It's active main for 5 energy. You choose 1 Son Goku card and 1 Vegeta card in your hand or battle area, and place them in the owner's drop area and play this card from your hand. Haven't actually had a chance to drop this guy yet, but I play as a 1 of. If I get to turn 5 and I have the opportunity to do it, and I know I can go for game, why not? And then last but not least, I do play 1 extra Overwhelm. It is Mirror Creator Absorb, just because for 1 energy, playing a big boy battle card is always fantastic. But yeah, so that is my current deck list. At least the one 98% of what I took to tournaments this past weekend. I did some slight tweaks after playing it, and I'll kind of go over the sideboard. It won't be in the list, but just so you guys know, I did have a sideboard for it. So these 2 cards were in my main deck, mainly because for 1 energy, it can help you just get an extra attack on play. Extra attack towards that late game. But ultimately, I don't really care for burst as much. But I feel like if it doesn't matter, I wouldn't mind signing this into the deck just to get that little extra pressure applied. But 1 extra Senzu Bean, because I feel like I need it for extra protection. If my opponent plays a unison-based deck, just having an extra Gohan comes in handy for that. If I need the extra counterplay. So 1 Kraken Space-Time. It is active battle if your leader card is black, saying it gains 15,000 power and double strike for the duration of turn. I play 1 of those because I also tech in 1, or sideboard also 1 for Instructing Champa, just because this is good for the leaders, this is good for any battle card. That way, if my opponent negates with this, I still have this as an option on the battle card. If they negate my battle card, will let my leader go through, I still have that option right there. So, I mean, initially, it should be probably 2 Champas for best, but if I get this on the leader, it's an extra 5k, and it's not really a combo, so. SS4 Broly. Initially, for 1 energy, you could play this card. It could be, I think, what I add up to, for each marker on this card, it gains 5,000 power for the turn. You could play this, let's see here, if this card has 1 marker, when this card is played, add markers to it for every 2 multicolored cards in energy. So initially, you're adding potentially 2 more markers to this card, making it a 3 marker with 3 markers on it. So now it's a 25k. You swing, then you swing for your leader, do the auto. You take away all the 3 markers, and it gains 5. Your leader now becomes a 30k swing on top of that. So, not saying Brilliant, watch no more. It is an overrun card, but typically, if I feel like I need to add this in for the Activate Battle, I will definitely do that. Mainly for the cooler matchup. We have a couple guys who've been playing a lot of cooler lately, so it just helps out for that. And then 2 of the Majin Buu's Human Extinction attack. Activate Battle if your leader is black. Choose one of your leaders or battle cards, and it gains 15,000 power for duration of battle. Auto if all of your energy is black. When you activate this card, choose 1 battle card in your opponent's drop area. Send to the owner's war. Place up to 4 cards from top of your deck if you want to. I don't really do that. Second half of that. But what's great with this one is that it hits U7. That came in really nice against General Rildo as well. Just getting rid of those big boys so you can't recycle those. But mainly U7. If they see the Vegeta in their thing early enough, I could just swing, add that to it, and immediately warp that Vegeta, or even the 8-drop if that feels like more of a threat. But yeah, that's my SS4 Bardock. First time I ever played it. Really enjoyed it. Thought it was fun. If you guys see anything that you think I should adjust or change, let me know in the comments down below. And like always, read your cards, know your plays, and fluff out.